I watched the calendar pages turn, each day a stark reminder. My sister should be planning her wedding right now, not lying beneath cold earth. We buried her, and with her, a future brimming with laughter and grand plans. How could a simple ache steal everything? Jessica, my vibrant sister, aged 36, beamed. I remember her in her classroom, the faint smell of fresh paint clinging to the air as she meticulously decorated another inspiring quote on the walls for her students. She was always the first to make others smile. Her biggest dream was to see the Eiffel Tower by her 40th birthday, a trip we often discussed. As a healthcare consultant, I completely trusted the medical system then, believing in its unwavering expertise. We all did. Her unwavering positivity was infectious, the very heart of our family. We thought nothing could ever truly touch her spirit. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're listening from. But life took a cruel turn. On May 15, 2022, Jessica first complained of severe abdominal pain. This wasn't just a fleeting ache, it was a persistent discomfort, a dull throb that disrupted her daily life, making even simple tasks difficult. She couldn't ignore it any longer. She sought care at Quick Care Urgent Clinic, a local facility, expecting straightforward answers and an effective treatment plan. She hoped for a simple fix to get back to her students and her life. Jessica's persistent abdominal pain, a dull throb, demanded attention. On May 15, 2022, she finally drove herself to Quick Care Urgent Clinic in Oakwood, Virginia, hoping for a quick fix. I met her there, seeing the strain around her eyes, a stark contrast to her usual sparkle. A nurse practitioner with a crisp white coat and an air of detached efficiency called her name. Inside the exam room, the interaction was brief. Jessica explained her severe discomfort, how it kept her from even decorating her classroom walls. The nurse practitioner pressed on her abdomen, asked a few questions about diet and stress, then leaned back. "It sounds like a straightforward gastrointestinal issue," she stated confidently, dismissing Jessica's growing unease. "Probably stress-related. We'll get you some antacids." A small bottle of antacids and a recommendation for rest were her treatment plan. My sister tried to sound relieved, but I saw the subtle tension in her jaw. The nurse practitioner noted the persistent abdominal pain on her chart, but brushed it aside, reiterating, "Just stress." I glanced at Jessica, a knot tightening in my gut. We wanted to trust, to believe this was a simple solution, but the dismissal felt too quick, too confident for a pain so insistent. We left the clinic, the fluorescent lights of the waiting area feeling colder than before. Jessica's shoulders relaxed slightly as she walked out, but her hand still rested on her stomach. The promised relief never came. 2 days later, her pain had only sharpened, a silent alarm ringing in my head, urging us to reconsider. We were heading back into the medical labyrinth. The pain sharpened 2 days later. Jessica called, her voice thin. "Mark, it's worse. The antacids aren't doing anything." The dull throb had tightened into a persistent cramp, now joined by an unsettling bloating. We drove back to Quick Care Urgent Clinic in Oakwood, Virginia, hoping for a different answer. A different nurse practitioner, this one younger with tired eyes, reviewed Jessica's chart. The previous notes mentioned persistent abdominal pain, she acknowledged, pressing on Jessica's distended belly. "But it seems they ruled out anything acute. It's likely a stubborn viral infection or irritable bowel. Keep on the antacids and try some probiotics." She offered a plausible medical explanation, but Jessica's EDCS score of 4 on her chart was a silent alarm. I asked about further tests. "We manage based on symptom presentation," she replied, a bureaucratic deflection, suggesting we follow up with her primary care physician if it doesn't improve. Several days blurred into a week. Jessica's abdomen grew noticeably distended, making it hard to find comfort. She started struggling with increasing fatigue and a profound lack of appetite. We finally got her admitted to St. Thomas Medical Center in Riverside, California, just before the 4th of July weekend. The oncology department felt like a maze of hushed urgency and fluorescent hum. Dr. Tom Chen, a young resident, examined her. He noted the pronounced distension and poor appetite, his brow furrowed. "We'll keep a close eye on this," he said, the words a thin veil over his inexperience. He didn't order any critical tests, focusing on temporary management, and left her alone for hours. It was a brief flicker of false hope. a slight reduction in pain from the stronger hospital medication, enough to make us almost believe. But new, intense nausea quickly followed. By midweek, Jessica's EDCS score hit a 6, clearly indicating a high level of concern. She was losing weight at an alarming rate, her clothes hanging loose. I cornered Dr. Lisa Thornton, her attending oncologist, in the hallway. Her pain is back, worse than before. She can't eat, and look how much weight she's dropped, I insisted, my voice tight. Don't you think an ultrasound is necessary? Dr. Thornton, visibly stressed with the holiday caseload, gave a confident, dismissive wave. Mr. Miller, it's not critical, just a stubborn GI flare-up. We're managing her symptoms. Trust us. We have this under control. She asserted her authority, brushing aside my firm insistence. Karen Clark, a nursing assistant, approached me later, quietly sharing her own concerns about Jessica's rapid decline, but felt powerless, noting her observations were not a priority in the holiday chaos. That night, Jessica experienced excruciating pain, a sharp, stabbing sensation that brought tears to her eyes. Her son, Jaden, tried to help her to the bathroom, only to watch her nearly collapse, struggling to walk. Her EDCS score had climbed to 7. I found Dr. Chen again, desperation coloring my voice. She's in agony. She can't walk. She's wasting away. What the hell is happening? I pleaded, listing every symptom, my vulnerability laid bare. He nodded, scribbling notes, acknowledging the rising CA-125 levels, but making no immediate move. We're reviewing her labs. It's been a tough week with all the holiday shifts, he muttered, recording the information but deferring action. Finally, a frantic nurse ordered an emergency CT scan. It was too late. Jaden screamed. Jessica convulsed, clutching her abdomen, a sharp, stabbing pain ripping through her. She tried to stand, gasping, her legs failing. She began to collapse. I yelled for help. Karen Clark, the nursing assistant, rushed over. "Code blue!" she screamed into the intercom. Hospital staff converged instantly. I was pushed aside, watching from the doorway. They surrounded Jessica, a blur of scrubs and urgent movement. Monitors screeched. Tubes and wires appeared. Dr. Chen arrived, his face grim, barking orders. He finally acted with frantic urgency. I stood helpless, my heart hammering against my ribs. The antiseptic smell was thick. An emergency CT scan was rushed. Moments later, Dr. Thornton approached me in the bustling hallway, her usual confidence shattered. "It's extensive," she whispered, avoiding my gaze. "Stage 4. It's spread everywhere." Jessica was diagnosed with terminal stage 4 ovarian cancer at St. Thomas Medical Center in Riverside, California. It was too late for treatment. The doctors gave her weeks. My knees buckled. The fluorescent lights blurred. The world went silent. A cold, crushing weight settled in my chest. This wasn't happening. Months later, the antiseptic smell of St. Thomas Medical Center still clung to my clothes, a phantom stench. We were deep into December, Jessica's laughter still a fresh wound. The State Health Department launched an external review led by Dr. Samuel Pierce, a no-nonsense man with tired eyes. I sat across from him, poring over stacks of medical records, charts, and timestamps. It felt like reconstructing a car wreck, piece by agonizing piece. The timeline became sickeningly clear. On May 20th, 2022, Jessica's abdominal pain escalated beyond a mild ache. Her chart noted a persistent, localized discomfort, a clinical finding that should have raised immediate alarms. The ovarian cancer assessment protocol explicitly called for immediate imaging, like an ultrasound, for such symptoms. Instead, Dr. Thornton, visibly burdened by caseload, dismissed it as a GI flare-up, prescribing stronger pain relief. No ultrasound was ordered. Next, on June 15, 2022, Jessica's rapid, unexplained weight loss became undeniable. Karen Clark, the nursing assistant, recorded this significant clinical finding, noting how loose Jessica's clothes had become. This symptom, particularly in a patient with ongoing abdominal issues, should have triggered an immediate oncology consultation. Dr. Chen, the resident, chose to focus on managing her nausea temporarily, bypassing crucial diagnostic tests. The EDCS score, which was climbing, went unheeded. A third glaring missed opportunity occurred on June 25, 2022, when Jessica's CA-1125 levels, a critical tumor marker, showed a worrying increase. This lab result was documented but then ignored by attending staff, lost in the chaos of holiday shifts. The ovarian cancer assessment protocol mandated an immediate escalation to an oncologist and further diagnostic workup when tumor markers rose. Instead, nothing. Jessica's terminal diagnosis was now inevitable. The paper in my hand trembled. Each ignored entry, each bypassed protocol, confirmed what I had suspected. Jessica's EDCS score of 4 on her first urgent care visit climbed to a 7 at St. Thomas, demanding specialist intervention. But for 10 days, that critical threshold was simply overlooked. Staff had documented her symptoms, her worsening condition, even the rising CA-125, yet no one acted. My gut clenched, a cold, hard knot of realization forming. They knew. They wrote it down. And did nothing. My hands tightened into fists, knuckles white. The grief I carried, a dull, constant ache, began to transform. A slow burn ignited in my chest, fueling a fierce anger. I looked at Dr. Pierce, my voice tight but unwavering. This was preventable, every single step. My voice, usually calm, held a new, steely edge. Jessica's rule: we need mandatory early detection screenings, patient advocate roles, a mandated 72-hour response for critical alerts. I wasn't just grieving anymore, I was fighting. I would ensure no other family suffered this way. This wasn't just about Jessica, it was about every neglected patient. The antiseptic smell of St. Thomas Medical Center still clung to my clothes, a phantom stench, even as December deepened. We were deep into the State Health Department's external review. Dr. Samuel Pierce, his face a landscape of fatigue, led the investigation. I sat across from him, poring over stacks of medical records, charts, and timestamps. It felt like reconstructing a car wreck, piece by agonizing piece. On May 20th, 2022, I stated, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands, Jessica's abdominal pain escalated. Her chart noted persistent, localized discomfort. The ovarian cancer assessment protocol explicitly called for immediate imaging, an ultrasound. Instead, Dr. Thornton dismissed it as a GI flare-up, prescribing stronger pain relief. I tapped the highlighted entry. No ultrasound was ordered. Dr. Pierce nodded, making a note. He then presented Dr. Thornton's statement. Ms. Miller, he read, said she was managing an unprecedented caseload due to the holiday period and staffing shortages. She believed she was following standard symptomatic management for a common GI issue. It was a defensive deflection, acknowledging nothing of specific error. Next, I pushed on the weight loss. June 15th, 2022, I continued. Jessica's rapid, unexplained weight loss became undeniable. Karen Clark, the nursing assistant, recorded this significant clinical finding. This symptom, in a patient with ongoing abdominal issues, should have triggered an immediate oncology consultation. Dr. Chen, the resident, chose to focus on temporary nausea management, bypassing crucial diagnostic tests. Dr. Chen's deposition, played back, showed him visibly regretful. I was overwhelmed, his voice echoed. And I should have advocated harder, but senior staff set the priorities. I truly believed I was managing her care appropriately at the time. An admission, framed by a clear excuse. Then came the CA-125 levels. June 25th, 2022, I stated. Her CA-125 levels, a critical tumor marker, showed a worrying increase. This was documented, then ignored by attending staff, lost in the chaos of holiday shifts. The protocol mandated immediate escalation. For 10 days, her EDCS score had climbed to a 7, screaming for specialist intervention, yet no one acted. It was Karen Clark, the nursing assistant, who became our unexpected ally. She approached Dr. Pierce, then me, with copies of her meticulously kept personal logs. Her observations, repeatedly dismissed by Dr. Thornton as not a priority, directly corroborated my timeline. Karen had noted Jessica's worsening condition, the ignored EDCS scores, the increasing abdominal distension. Her quiet courage provided irrefutable internal evidence. The State Health Department's official findings were released in early January. The report was damning. Systemic neglect, failure to follow established protocols, and direct causation of delayed diagnosis. It cited gross negligence and concluded Jessica's death was absolutely preventable with proper adherence to guidelines. The media immediately seized on the report. Local news outlets ran daily segments featuring Jessica's vibrant photo, her smile now a haunting presence on every screen. Online, Justice for Jessica trended, fueled by community outrage and a growing national conversation about medical accountability. St. Thomas Medical Center, initially issuing vague statements about ongoing reviews, found itself under intense public scrutiny. Finally, the hospital CEO, Dr. Emily Hayes, a woman I had never seen before, delivered a press conference. Her prepared statement was carefully worded, still defensive in tone, but the crack in their resistance was clear. "We acknowledge significant lapses in care," she stated, "and failures to adhere to internal protocols. We commit to implementing new safeguards to ensure such a tragedy never occurs again." The fight wasn't over. It had just begun. This investigation provided the irrefutable truth, forging the path for Jessica's rule. Months blurred into a year, but the ache of Jessica's absence remained a phantom limb, always there. Early that summer, her fight finally sparked change. Jessica's rule officially became law, a mandatory policy enacted across all OB/GYN and emergency department settings in California. Under this new framework, families are empowered to demand urgent follow-up assessments based on elevated early detection criteria system, EDCS, scores. Healthcare staff must now complete new standardized documentation and immediately flag critical alerts for specialist review, ensuring a mandated 72-hour response time. Additionally, dedicated patient advocate roles are established in every facility, equipped with clear responsibilities and follow-up protocols to champion patient needs. The state allocated $500,000 to support comprehensive training and resource enhancements, rolling out in phases over a 6-month timeline, starting that July. This funding, sourced from state healthcare budgets, ensures staff are equipped and facilities updated to meet these new standards. Families now possess a real voice, able to demand urgent follow-up assessments, ensuring their concerns aren't dismissed. Staff are required to complete new documentation and flag elevated scores for immediate attention, fostering accountability. A mandated 72-hour response time for any critical alerts now holds providers to a higher standard. The policy's impact has been immediate. Just last month, a woman in Sacramento presenting with similar early symptoms had her ovarian cancer detected at stage 1, allowing for successful treatment. It's estimated Jessica's rule has already saved dozens of lives. Still, challenges persist. Staffing shortages remain a hurdle, and integrating rigorous training in already overloaded healthcare environments proves tough. Pushback on resource allocation from some hospital administrations also limits its full potential. This fight for Jessica's rule brought a purpose to my grief, a way to honor her vibrant spirit. But no legislation, no amount of reform, can ever bring back her laughter or the future she deserved. It's a victory, hard-won and deeply painful, ensuring her story will echo in the halls of healthcare for years to come. I still picture her painting those classroom walls, a life stolen too soon. 2 years have passed since that devastating diagnosis at St. Thomas Medical Center in Riverside, California. 2 years since Jessica, my vibrant sister, was stolen from us. I live now as Mark Miller, a healthcare consultant, but more profoundly an unwavering advocate. Her absence is a constant hum, a silent echo in our home in Oakwood, Virginia, a daily reminder of what we lost. She would be 38 today, likely still planning that trip to the Eiffel Tower, her big 40th birthday dream. I still picture her in her classroom, the faint smell of fresh paint, meticulously decorating another inspiring quote for her students. Her laughter, that infectious sound, still rings in my ears when I tickle Jaden, her son. Medical misdiagnosis remains a silent crisis, contributing to thousands of preventable deaths each year across the nation. For ovarian cancer, early detection increases the 5-year survival rate to over 90%, a stark contrast to the 30% for late-stage diagnoses like Jessica's. Jessica's journey began with severe abdominal pain, then persistent bloating, unexplained weight loss, and a profound, increasing fatigue. These aren't just minor discomforts. They are critical alarms demanding immediate investigation. If something feels off, demand answers. Document every conversation and symptom. Use strong, clear language like, I need an immediate ultrasound for this persistent abdominal pain, as per the ovarian cancer assessment protocol. Ask for a dedicated patient advocate. Your voice matters. Today, Jessica's rule is actively changing care across California's OB/GYN and emergency departments. It mandates a 72-hour response for critical alerts and empowers families to demand further assessments, already saving dozens of lives. Still, staffing shortages and resource pushback from some hospital administrations remain hurdles to full implementation. This fight ensures no other family endures such preventable tragedy. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and share your story in the comments. The sterile hospital rooms blur in my mind, but not the vibrant image of Jessica. I see her in our backyard on a warm summer afternoon, paintbrushes in hand, guiding Jaden and his sister as they created colorful, messy masterpieces. Her smile was pure joy, her spirit bright, alive, leaving a legacy of light in every stroke.